step out of your bubble because it's hard to open up to somebody. Let's say if we're friends for 10, 20 years, what if you're going to judge me for the shit I'm going to tell you?
Yep. 1 year sober. God is so good, we do recover. I can't even tell you, man, the reaction I got. The amount of people reaching out, not just congratulations, but I need help. And that's when I realized you can't keep this gift unless you live in that frequency of giving it away to other people.
We still don't have it figured this shit out. We still like on the like completely healing journey, working journey, figured out the answers, reading, meditating, praying, finding the answers. And it's like 6 months from now, we're going to be sitting and it's like, holy shit, look at this.
Yeah.
Like
we look back a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you look back and we're always evolving. And then I think the biggest key is trying to understand people instead of us being understood.
Welcome to the Inner Wealth and Outer Wealth podcast. Today I have an amazing guest and I'm so excited, Darren Prince I'm so excited today about you. Like I read your story and it's like amazing. Like you accomplish anything you can accomplish. You get to the top of the top. And our story is the same because we hit the bottom of the bottom and we are unsatisfied. You know, like in your industry, I mean, you have you represent Charlie Sheen, Hogan, Mike Johnson. Oh my God. That was your first clients in 1994. Is it true?
1994.
99. So that's like 31 years.
Yep.
So you have those amazing people and you were not fulfilled.
No.
Something happened and it's like, I know you are sober as well.
Yep.
Like I've been only sober 4.5 years. You've been like 14
17.
years. 17 years.
Yep.
And guys, this is going to be an amazing podcast because we have the same story. We got to the top and then we realized at the top, there's nothing out there. We look at the views and like, let's go back. and we have to rewrite our whole life. You wrote the book.
Yep.
You
Aiming high.
Aiming high.
Yeah.
So walk me through. Tell me, Darren, like how did it happen? How, like where did you? Well, let's go first. Let's go the climb up.
Okay.
Okay. So how?
So I grew up in New Jersey, and I had what you would have thought was a perfect family and a perfect childhood. Like there's no reason or no explanation that this would have happened to me. Mm-hmm. But I was in small classrooms. I wasn't somebody that was good in school. I didn't enjoy school.
Nobody does.
I felt my brain didn't work like everybody else's. And I was verbally teased a lot of times because I was put in small classrooms. And I think that kind of gave me a little bit of a fire that, okay, well, this might not be for me, but I'm going to find something else to be really good at. And my father, God bless him, he's no longer here, nor is my mom, but he saw something in me, saw the way my brain worked with numbers, and he used to tell me all the time, you don't have what a lot of your friends have, but what you do have is mesmerizing, and we're going to tap into that. So I started a baseball card business when I was 14 years old. That became a multi-million-dollar company by the time I was 19. And along the way, I got so caught up in, now I'm the one that everybody's looking at. Now I'm the one that's the rock star. But it involved a lot of drugs, partying, women, where I just never understood until I hit my bottom when I was about 38. Eventually, that business moved into representing athletes and celebrities. I didn't realize that I was always chasing.
So
I was always chasing from an
years.
external space what was inner peace and inner validation and self-love and fulfillment on the inside until, July 2nd, 2008, when I fell on my knees with the last of my opiates in my hand and I had a white light God moment that I never had before and I never had since.
Damn. So it's like, it's funny because our story very similar.
Yeah.
So it took you 24 years and you realized like all the outside validation, it didn't fulfill you inside. How was the moment? Walk me through the moment. Like how did
I had eventually when I became an agent in 1994, Magic became my first client. Then it was Chevy Chase, Hulk Hogan, Smoking Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, Dennis Rodman, Pamela Anderson. It was just a mega list. And now here I am at 24 years old, and all the clients that I was working with previously we used to have a memorabilia company. They all came with me to the marketing side. And so now it's not just Livingston, New Jersey. It's the rest of America and around the world are looking at everything wow, look at Prince Marketing Group, look at, the names that they have. And I think I just got so caught up in the fact that this was allowing me to kind of cover up the insecurities of not feeling worthy of having any of it. So I had something known as morality clauses. So I had to stop the illegal drugs, but opiates were very accessible to a guy like me. And from working out, having a lot of physical pain, sciatica, Oxycontins, Vicodins, and Percocets became my best friends. And every doctor gave me whatever I needed. I mean, probably just like you, they see a success story. There were times I'd bring Smoking Joe Frazier to the doctor if it was in Jersey because he'd be in town and he would come with me. I'd have Hulk Hogan sign something for one of them, or a Magic Johnson jersey. Whatever Darren Prince needed, Darren Prince got. And I lived for probably 6 or 7 years on opiates, drinking, at events here and there. And it made me a rock star. It really did. It made me network my butt off. But I'm super careful because I do a lot of public speaking around the country where high school kids don't get the wrong idea, because there were some business issues that I wasn't paying attention to. There was a lot of obviously personal, mental issues, psychological issues, physical, emotional, spiritual, where what was once living to use turned out to using to live. And I felt like I lost my superpower. And I felt like these pills that I was swallowing, chopping up, snorting, however I had to get them into me, became my kryptonite. And I could no longer find my superpower. And that's when I really started going into hell. And that hit around maybe the time I was around 30, 31, had a couple overdoses. And then you asked about that moment. I was at the jumping off point. And July 1st, 2008, my late uncle and his then girlfriend, Andrea, both from Miami, they were visiting my mom in New Jersey, and they paid a surprise visit to me. I didn't even know they were in town. And kind of like you just greeted me before, there's a frequency and an energy with certain people.
Yes.
She walked in and I felt something, man. It was like, what? This is like just different. And she goes, "Are you okay? What's going on?" I never met her before. It was like tractor beams. And I told her, for the first time in my life, fully accountable at everything going on. Just had an overdose 8 months earlier. And she said to me, "Do you realize you're an addict and your life's unmanageable?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Do you realize that you're powerless?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Most importantly, do you realize this doesn't mean anything? Because you don't mean anything." And it's pictures of me and Muhammad Ali and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and Charlie Sheen and Chevy Chase and Pamela Anderson and Carmen Electra, all the biggest, icons that were clients and friends of mine. And that broke my soul. And I started to cry because what she said was right. It didn't mean anything.
You know,
I didn't
like
mean anything.
Saritas, we have the angel that is like sent by God. And it can be even the own parents, like aunts, like for you it's somebody. But whoever's listening I'm getting goosebumps. The timing, it's got to be right. That was the timing. You know what I mean? Because she could be saying like, the same. She could say the same thing 5 years, 10 years before. It wouldn't mean anything.
I wasn't in alignment to accept it. And now I had the gift of desperation because she said to me, "Are you willing to do anything it takes? Because I could help you." She pulls out a 5-year sober recovery coin. I had no idea she was in recovery. She just got it a week earlier. And she's like, "I'm going to show you a way to a life behind your wildest dreams, but you have to do everything I tell you to do." So I had one little setback 24 hours later when we got rid of all the pills and everything. I had some freak out moment. This was on July 2nd, 2008. I consider it my anniversary. And I called them up. I was detoxing. They were back in Miami at this point. I called my uncle and her up. I said, "I can't do this. I'm calling the freaking doctor to get what I really need to get." Because what I didn't realize was God needed to come into my life now. And that's when it happened, because they were screaming at the other end of the phone. And they said, "This is a disease. It's time you get to a 12-step meeting. It's time you put your hand up, put your damn ego aside and tell these people you're sick and suffering." And I said, "I've been to those stupid meetings in my early 20s. I don't understand anything about it." Boom, hung up the phone and went into the bathroom, locked the door. And I went through all the medicine cabinets, looked for a non-narcotic anxiety pill that she was allowing me to take during the detox phase. And out came 2 Vicodins out of one of the bottles, which was one of the 3 opiates I was addicted to, which was bizarre because I was married at the time. Me and me and the then wife cleaned out all the opiates, knowing why leave anything in the house I'd be
Tempting.
tempted to take.
Yeah.
So it seemed like for a split second that was the gift. Oh, just what I need. But then the miracle happened because I fell on my knees for the first time in my life. And I screamed out to God, take the money, take the business, take the notoriety. I need a single day of freedom. If you take me out of hell, I will spend one day at a time taking others out with me. And it was a white light moment that I had in the bathroom of the Carillon building, on my knees, sweating, shaking, where this right shoulder caught fire. I heard a voice in my good ear. You know, I've been deaf in my left since I was 25. I literally heard a voice say, I've got you when you're ready. And I stood up and I flushed the pills. And I went into the computer in the living room. I found a 12-step recovery meeting in the upper 80s in a church basement. And I walked into this room. First off, there was no Uber. I was in a taxi. Beautiful summer night on the way there, looking up at this gorgeous summer night and saying to myself, what the heck just happened? I wanted to stay sober more than I wanted to get high. And when I walked into this church basement, 150, 200 recovered addicts and alcoholics, all once of a hopeless state of mind. And the leader said, is there anybody new or struggling? And I believe God raised my hand that night.
You did not even raise the
Because
hand. You
here
don't
I
even were
am.
conscious that you raised the
Here
hand.
I am in front
Yeah.
of a bunch of people I don't know to say I'm a degenerate drug addict and I need help. And I'm suicidal and I don't want to live anymore. And these people became my extended family. I heard things during that meeting that I finally felt a part of something. I finally felt that missing piece of never feeling comfortable in my own skin, never feeling a part of, never feeling whole, never feeling worthy of the success. And I heard things like the 5 A's: attitude, adjustment, accountability, acceptance, and action. Stick with the winners. It's easier to stay here than to come back. And then they told me the most important thing was, we're going to love you before you ever learn how to love yourself. And I just became immersed into these meetings, these recovery meetings. And my sponsor, Steve, I don't like using that word. He's my big spiritual brother. We go back over 17 years now.
Yeah.
And I called him yesterday. On my 1 year sober birthday, I was in Monaco, France, and I'm walking. You've been out there, Monaco, I'm sure.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's just beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Summertime, July 2nd, best time of the year. I was with the then wife, and people are calling me because it was my 1 year sober birthday. And I'm happy, joyous, and free. You know, I've already done the first 3 or 4 steps of the fellowship. I'm, just taking it all in. My mom called, my dad called, and sponsor Steve calls and said something that it shook me to the core that really changed my life and took recovery to another level. Calls me up, and he's an old school Italian guy from New Jersey, did his time in prison from Newark. Now he's got 38 years. He's a legend, icon, and guru around mental health in the state of New Jersey. He calls me up because it feels pretty good 1 year. I said, yeah. He goes, you know what comes tomorrow? I was like, no, what comes tomorrow? He goes, 1 year and 1 day. And he goes, now listen, you've been a taker the past year. You've been coming to meetings and taking. He goes, with your platform and the people you know around the world, he goes, I think it's time you tell the world the real Darren Prince, because you got an opportunity to be a game changer and, a huge light of hope for a lot of people. And it just hit me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm going to go on Facebook. Instagram wasn't even around then. So I said, happy, joyous, and free. 1 year sober. God is so good, we do recover. I can't even tell you, man, the reaction I got. The amount of people reaching out. Not just congratulations, but I need help. And that's when I realized you can't keep this gift unless you live in that frequency of giving it away to other people.
It's like we are born to serve, but we got to some of us go through the process that we get the entitlement. I work hard, we hide the insecurities, and then I work hard, I'm going to do this, and then we're like, I'm entitled to this, like this. I want more, we want more, until the more is less.
Yep.
And, like we break, like you broke, and me personally, the way I broke, it's the outer world did not match my inner world.
Yeah.
So by the rules of society, this motherfucker have everything,
Yeah.
but I have nothing.
Yep.
I was completely like a big black hole, and I couldn't even breathe.
Yep.
But I was scared to even share it. And it's funny how when we open up, it's like suddenly like everything comes out, and we were not even aware of it.
Yep.
But let's because you were fortunate, and and I was fortunate, both before and after. If you have to give advice to somebody like right now who's listening, it's like bullshit. Like I love this. You will relate to that. Yeah, I don't have that problem yet.
No.
How do the lack of awareness and the lack of consciousness? How would you say but like how would you say like I'm not there yet? How would you like?
I mean, look, some people are a work in progress. All I can do is share my experience, strength, and hope. And a lot of times why I can resonate with people is because of my career. They see me being, such a public voice and a public fixture for, like I said, there's so many iconic people that I work with, and now David Goggins the past 3.5 years. And I mean, so he's helped me tap into the younger generation because they're so obsessed with him. He's such a cultural phenomenon. So I think some of the young ones that have needed help with recovery, and they Google and they check and they see everything that we've done with David as far as all the keynotes and the events we had him in and the relationship him and I have been blessed to have together. I think I got all the bases covered where I can talk to them, where they get so mesmerized and in awe sometimes about looking at that life. And I go, it's not who I am. It's what I do, And then the older ones, like the baby boomers, I wanted to be uncommon, man, amongst the uncommon in recovery. And I started a few years back, really this rigorous personal development routine
Walk me through.
Very few people have. Very few people have it. And I know the biohacking, and I know you're probably in sync with a lot of it. This morning, just so you know, I was only going on 5.5 hours sleep by the time we got to the hotel room. But I have a frequency watch that I travel with. Okay? It's one of my wellness places, my boy Brian, at Sports IQ at the Four Seasons in Westlake Village. You have to come there.
Okay.
Mind-blowing. I'll send you a link on it. They can actually treat you remotely without even going in. And so I bought the frequency watch. I had my grounding patches. I got my hydrogen water. Got my meditation app. My boy Landre is another one that I want to set you up with. Vibrational healing coach that can go so deep into the traumas because we all have them. They go so deep into the blocks because healing is an ongoing journey. We're never healed. We're healing. So when people look at me and say, "Oh my God, you're recovered," as far as the drugs and the alcohol, because I believe words are so powerful, I choose to say I'm recovered.
The drug and alcohol is a patch. We're putting the Band-Aids so we don't feel the pain.
Exactly. But we don't get addicted to the drugs and the alcohol. We get addicted to the escape.
Exactly.
Of not feeling.
Yeah.
So I choose to say I'm recovered from drugs and alcohol one day at a time because of the frequency and the vibration of what I do every single day. I'm on the 10X protocol. I'm in the ice bath every day. Like I said, I do so much meditating twice a day and breath work and, humming and whatever I got to do to kind of just stay in this personal development frequency. And even my fiance, Nutsa, it's a big reason I think we got together because she was a client, for 2.5 years after American Idol and Eurovision. And she moved into my penthouse in LA. And she was always big. I know you're going to have her on as a guest. You're going to love her. She was always big on the personal development and always the ongoing healing. But we kind of started doing it together. And we went from besties to, it was always agent, client, besties. And then something just brought us together. God had a bigger plan for both of us. We got engaged in early June. So I finally found another level of what's most important thing. Because I've lost both my parents. My dad was blessed,
sorry about
as was I, to have a sober son for 8.5 years. And my mom had me for 16 and a half, and she passed last November. And I had a little bit of what we just talked about, that fulfillment. I'm sober. I'm helping so many people. Business is great. We make a lot of money, great clients, market. But I felt like I was missing something a little bit after Mom passed away because I was single. And I'm like, people don't understand. They just think because you got the toys and the houses and no.
Dude, this is shit.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you buy
man.
one house, second house, one car, second car, one jet, second jet. It gives you like a fulfillment. It gives you like a validation. I made it, but you still empty inside.
I know so many people, as I'm sure you do, and I like them as people. I don't mention names, that are on social media. They're worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions. It's about the flex, man. I'm like, what are you doing? You're the reason this culture is that way. I don't need to flex anything except how big my God is.
But
I need
it's
to
funny.
flex.
I
a
love it.
recovery.
We have the conversation because when I got social media, like nobody knew who I was, right?
Yep.
And then you got to show this, you got to show the jets, you got to show the houses, you got to show your lifestyle. And I was like, no. It's like you get the voice, and I'm like, in this society, you get more voice if you show how successful you are. And but I'm just going like, if the success is not the things we have, it's the love within us, the self-love, the perseverance, the warmth, the feminine, like it's like everybody's like, well, it's like, what about the masculine energy? I'm like, dude, we need feminine energy. Like you said, like your mom died and you were missing that because it's like she was giving you that. And now suddenly it's like, and having the feminine energy, it doesn't make us weak. It makes us freaking stronger.
Exactly.
Because we can connect with people on another level.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Dude, you walked into my house and like literally after 1 minute, I felt like I fucking know you 20 years.
It doesn't matter. And the other thing is the emotional connection. Like I cry 4 or 5 times a week. I don't even care. It's like when you can get into that just let it out, man. Just that connection is so important. You know what I'm saying? And you said it with my mom. It's amazing that you brought that up because back in May, Newt and I went back to New Jersey to surprise my sister for her birthday. My boy John Avellino is a master NLP practitioner, like top level, like Tony Robbins, Louise Hayes.
I spent a weekend with him.
And he's been sort of like you do your ayahuasca.
Yeah.
I'll do a tune-up NLP session once a year. And
what is that?
Neurolinguistic programming.
Okay.
And it really gets into the trauma. It really gets into the patterns. It gets into the blocks where he took me back to like, literally I was like a 12-year-old watching my mom at 12 years old and the environment that she grew up in to understand her better, because we got good and bad from our parents, and it really kind of like I was talking to her and she was talking to me. I was in a trance, and kind of when he pulled me out of it, it's almost like that there's just another layer of something lifted from the subconscious mindset, and you're just different. The thought could be there's no more physiological, the anxiety pattern Jet's instilled in me. That was a big reason I used drugs because I had a numb, the self-doubt and the smothering of just, I couldn't do anything without my mom. Like as a teenager, like if she wasn't around, I'd panic, all these little things over the past 17 years that him and I kind of have worked on. Doesn't mean she was a bad person. She did the best she could with what she had. But they knew nothing about healing and personal development like we have today.
It's like that. It's funny because I always tell it's like, because now I'm a father of 5. Yeah. I screw up. Like I do the best I can. And that's why like my parents did the best they could.
Yep.
They could do whatever on the conscious level, whatever awareness level they were on.
Yep.
That's what they did the best they could.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We cannot blame them
Not at all.
because did you notice that anybody, like at least I talked to anybody, it was like, wow, they always have something. All our wounds and trauma are related to our parents.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
But everybody's got it. good or bad.
Exactly.
I have friends that grew up very privileged. I had one that kind of, like I was telling you earlier, died of a drug overdose 2 years ago. Never found his own identity because it was given. Everything was handed. The Porsche in high school, the money, that's a trauma, believe it or not.
Yeah.
People sometimes look back, oh, they've had everything. Well, you know what? That doesn't mean anything because I know a lot of people that were given everything that went nowhere in life. Now, the hindsight, I don't fault you if you were given a lot and made something with what you were given. That still takes a talent.
Yes.
Of course, you have a little bit of an advantage that you don't need to, grow up in a certain society. You don't need to hustle to find investors. But I still give credit for people if they grew up in a privileged environment that were given a start and actually made it. Because that's still not easy, and you know that.
I give him
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
wealthy
credit for
people that we were around that were given by family and kept blowing through it and never made it and failed business after failed business. You still got to have something up here to take it and run with it and do something.
What happened is this is the emotional intelligence. They're on the higher consciousness level because they didn't need to fight. They were not as hungry.
Yeah.
Because we use our hunger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I got to teach my kids right now, the younger generation, that, because they have a better life than us.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that they have to take it for granted.
No.
So their awareness at the age of 14 or 18 or 12 or 20, 28,
Yeah.
it has to be a lot higher because they have access to all of it.
Exactly.
But how you use it,
How you use it is
how you use it is the most important.
Yep.
But what happens is we need to show them.
Yep.
We cannot just preach. It's like, don't watch TV and then we go watch TV.
No.
Or else, it's funny, like my son, I don't eat sugar. It's been like almost 2 years that it's gonna be actually like August 14. I completely quit sugar.
Good for you.
Dude, this was hard. Alcohol was easy. Drugs was easy. Quitting sugar was hard.
Yeah, I've
right?
heard a lot of people
And
say
then
that.
in the last few months, my son goes suddenly we're going for the ice cream. No, I don't eat ice cream. I don't eat. But he stopped eating sugar.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're 14. You're a kid. Just do this shit.
Yeah.
It's like that. I don't like how I look.
Wow.
But if I told him that, that would not happen.
No,
if
you gotta
kept-
figure out
it
himself.
has to connect. But I'm gonna touch on something because you said something about connection, and I really want to make sure so our audience doesn't miss, because I think connection is the most important.
Everything.
When we connect with our soul, with our spirits, with our heart, with our
Yep.
mind. You're talking about conscious mind, subconscious mind.
Yep.
Can you please go a little bit deeper because people hear my perspective on it.
Yep.
But I want to yours.
Well, I think anything that you're going through and you're trying to come out of, we have to be around people that have experienced it. Like we talked about the frequency and the vibration of just seeing each other and feeling like we knew each other forever.
Yep.
It's like, my man, how you been? It's been a while. Give
me a hug. Give me a hug. I'm a hugger.
When you're living that way. So funny you said that too, because for me, when I go to my recovery meetings, I do a lot of Zoom ones when I'm traveling, but I love going in person, giving my spiritual brothers and sisters hugs and how are you? Back in 2021, when Jay Shetty's a good friend of mine, and when he wanted me to be on his podcast, he wanted to do a Zoom because it was kind of coming out of the pandemic, and he had some big names on Zoom. It was like Oprah, J-Lo. There's some really big ones. And I said to him, because he wanted me to tell my story, and I said, Jay, here's the thing. I said, I'd rather wait, even if it's another 8 months, 6 months, a year. The opposite of addiction is connection. And if I'm not in front of you with your audience being as big as it is around the world, this is not going to be nearly as effective on Zoom. And we waited, and the opportunity came up. And if you ever watched my On Purpose interview with Jay, that was one of the ones that paused him. He goes, I love when you say the opposite of addiction is connection. He goes, ooh, that's powerful. That was Jay's reaction because he felt it and he knew. And the amount of lives that podcast interview saved and changed and still does 4 years later, that I'll get random DMs and messages. It's a huge, huge blessing. The other way that I connect is I've got my Aiming High Foundation, my 501c3 charity, and we donate 100% of the proceeds to charity. I'm going to tell you a story that's going to blow you away. So last September, I went to see my mom and my sister in New Jersey, and I had 4 different Ubers to choose from to, get back to my hotel after. And I didn't pick the first one. I picked the one that might have been a little bit quicker. And the guy comes, picks me up. You could just tell he just he wasn't right. He was having a bad day. Starts venting about him and his dad being like more party buddies, and he wasn't really a father. He wasn't really a son to him. His wife kicked him out of the house. The kids wanted nothing to do with him, and I could just tell he was struggling with something. And then he told me that he's been kind of, he parties too much, and he's been trying to get sober. And I just look up at the sky and I said, God, you put me in the Uber that I needed to be in, Tiago, didn't you? And I had to tell him who I was, not the agent wife.
Yeah.
The real Darren Prince.
Yes.
So I tell him, and I was like, do you want the gift of going to treatment? Because he had next to no money. Uber's all he had. And I was sleeping on a friend's couch. I said, I will scholarship you tomorrow, Monday, whenever you're ready, 100% to give you the gift of recovery. And he turns around and goes, how did you get in my Uber?
That's
tears rolling down his face.
I'm telling you, like sending, it's really.
And so to have that blessing to be able to do that for somebody, and then he calls me on Thanksgiving because he's still at the sober living facility and he's loving it there, and he's getting that foundation one day at a time, that comfort of learning how to live. And he's like, they're letting me out for the day to go be with my mom and my dad and my kids and my wife, and sends me like a picture of him and the family. And then on New Year's, he texts me, and I still hear from him once or twice a month, brother, you saved my life. And that connection, like when I get his texts and we speak to each other, I mean, that's what it's about, man, because different lives, but same results and same purpose. And just like you, I mean, it's a intangible. It's just such a crazy, I think I would say euphoric. It's a euphoric feeling that we now get that drugs and alcohol gave us.
Yep.
But we can have it just by doing this. So when people are trying to recover and they need that connection, it's about finding people that are living the deal. It's about finding that community of others that are where you're trying to get to. We're not just talking about business. That's secondary. We're talking about life.
Yep.
We're talking about how can you wake up each and every day and be your best self? How can you find others that have come out of that hell that you want to come out of and connect with them? And now it's way easier than it was when I got sober 17 years ago. You can literally go online and
exactly
go to a chat room and find somebody.
Yes, because it's like I'm telling you, the social media, it's a gift and a curse. You can use for the good, you can use for the bad.
Yep.
Like, us, we're using for the good, but also it's like to find somebody, because it's like a lot of times I always tell people, it's step out of your bubble, because it's hard to open.
Zone.
Yeah, it's hard to open up to somebody. Let's say if we're friends for 10, 20 years, what if you're going to judge me for the shit I'm going to tell you?
Yep.
The same thing with hard with our wives, with our partners. It's like, I have all these voices, I have all this stuff going on.
Yep.
Suddenly when you, like me personally, I found a therapist.
Yep.
I didn't tell anybody.
Yep.
And, so I have a different perspective, because like everybody, like I have a coach, a therapist for years.
Yep.
But they knew my story.
Yeah.
So I did not feel like, I'm paying them so they tell me what I want to hear.
Exactly.
But it's not getting me where I want to go.
Yep.
And I think the journey, and also like, I think the journey looking, not being happy, that's the journey, that's the life. We have to experience all the emotions.
Yep.
We have to experience all the feelings. We have to experience like even different connections, different connection with people.
Yep.
That's why even the COVID, I think that COVID happened for people to wake the fuck up.
And
because we were missing, because, being on the phones, being just talking, it wasn't it. If there's no exchange of energy, I mean, we are humans. On the end of the day, that's why we're looking for partners, for kids.
Yep.
We need a connection, but we need a connection with the whole world, because the world is trying to divide us.
100%.
You can only talk to these people, let's say, on this social status, on this money status, on this. Like, that's why alcoholic always finds alcoholic.
Oh,
drug addict always find drug addict.
No,
when I start doing Ironmans, the biker always find biker, the swimmers find the swimmer. And even like right now, look at how we are connected by universe. It's like we are on the same mission and we got connected. And suddenly it's like, everyone at like if you came to my party, like a Christmas party, like 5 years ago, there's 300 people, everybody will leave high and shit-faced.
Yeah.
Now, it's like 300 people showed up, 3 bottles of wine.
That's amazing.
It's like,
And to know that,
and look,
like,
and I'm like, dude,
this is great. Like, this is great.
thank
know,
you.
obviously, people want this in life. It's like the goal. You want to provide and have everything for your family, your kids. Not as much for ourselves anymore.
No.
But to know, like, for me, and when you think about this, like, if we lost it all, number one, we know how to get it back because we're grinders and we know we're going to get it back. But it doesn't define us how it once did. There's a different frequency of happiness we wake up in. And you're not waking up and walking around the house and getting into your cars and being like, yes, I made it. That's not what it's about. And let me post this so I could get the validation from all the people that said I wasn't going to win. No, you're living a purposeful life now.
You know what? I got to tell you, and you will really appreciate that. 2 months, I have this ritual, and Mike, you probably hear me still talking about it. I have this new thing that I take my little boat that I bought for my son. The smallest boat gives me the happiest, not the big yachts.
The best.
Right. And I take it on the ocean, and it was a sunrise. And like, you know, I was praying, meditating, and this. And suddenly I got this inner validation from myself. This is the highest level of validation from myself. I didn't need anybody to tell me shit. I broke down. I was
just
crying.
gonna say, yeah, you got me on that.
I was
know that
like,
feeling.
you know, it's like you gotta go and share this, and it's a buildup. But you know, it just showed up, and I still, it's like now I want this every day, and it happened like months ago. But the feeling is like, how do I go on the journey to find this more and more?
Yep.
This is my new addiction.
Yeah.
But
Becomes a
using
healthy
but
addiction.
anybody, like I've been like, you know, with the Tony Dean in the last 3 days, you know, we're like a private group. It was like 12 of us. And I look at it around the room, and it's like everybody is so successful. Everybody's got it's on completely different conscious level. And the energy in the room was like the energy in the room was so, like everybody was so connected that I was like literally, like there was they were playing a music and there was a concert going, and I was just sitting, like I was so mesmerized. It's like that's death. I mean, I just like not dead, but it was like that I felt like the tingling in my body, and it was like, oh my God, this is like, you know, there's no, you know, I can get high right now
100%.
without any drug, without any alcohol. Like, you know, I have to connect drugs and alcohol in the dosage with the pills. So I can get high for 3 days.
Yeah. 100%.
And it doesn't leave me.
And me being so enlightened and so dialed into the work, man, like, and like I said, I don't mention names. So I got a lot of them that are friends. But when I see the jets and the cars and the houses, they're constantly looking for that validation, and they're constantly talking about the haters or whatnot. It's like, God, you'd be so much happier if you understood healing that broken little boy. You'd be so much happier if you understood you're not doing this, man. Take a look in the mirror. You ain't doing this to show people how to be a success. You're doing this from those insecurities, from all those years of failures.
Yep.
You know, you're not a happy person.
Nope.
Because Magic Johnson don't do it. Jeannie Buss, who just sold the Lakers, is getting $6.5 billion or whatever it is. These are all friends of mine. Most successful billionaires don't do it. But there's still a part of the culture that does it. And they act like they're whole. What I'd like to see is, how about, instead of flashing your cars and your mansions and your jets, because like I said, plenty of people that have them, how about posting a scholarship you gave away to a family that now can have the ability to create generational wealth, or you funded a business or some investments for individuals that never would have had a chance. You want to understand fulfillment? You want to get a feeling of purpose? You do it that way.
Giving
That's
is
when you
living.
do it.
That's
Instead
what
of
abundance is.
flashing another $500 grand on this car, another $10, $12 million. No, that's not fulfillment. You're operating from a place of lack. You're operating from a place of weakness. And like Hogan says, we all going to go see God one day. And I want to be the one that surpassed my expectations down here. I don't need to talk about all the business deals that we do and, this deal and this month that I'm just not that way. I don't need to be because it's not fulfillment. It's what I do. It allows me to provide for people that work for me, my family, my friends. I don't require a lot in life anymore. But like I said, I'm not there to talk about how great my life is or, how fantastic this is. I talk about how great my God is because through that, it allows me to connect.
Yes.
And it allows me to change people's thought process, their minds, and pull them out of hell, which is the commitment that I made. And it's like, I get it. It's like when I pointed before, everybody wants this. You want to be able to provide. Mm-hmm. But the social media culture has effed up so many of this young generation looking at the ones that are recklessly and carelessly promoting it and advertising it without going into their traumas enough. Like, wouldn't you be okay more if you saw it and it was like, not that this is everything that you're looking at, but share a little bit of your vulnerable side. Talk about the darkest days, and put an emphasis on somebody that you just took out of their darkest days. That's what I feel social media should be used for. And it's just, you just said it.
But remember,
it's great and it's bad.
But remember, vulnerability for a man means weakness. That's what that's what
Not to
that's
you and
what
I.
You and I, we and I.
You
we're
and I
breaking
understand
the
its
stigma.
strength.
That's why we want to, the same mental health is like, well, there's something wrong with you. Mental health, like that's why, like I want to bring the stigma of the mental health too, because it's like doing the march on March 21st, 2026. I want to bring the stigma of mental health because like everybody, there's nothing wrong with me. This is like, you know what? It's not saying we all have the voices. We all have the wounds. We all have the traumas. Everybody. And like I was the little boy that wants to be loved. Yeah. Like, like the movie from Julia Roberts. Like but she was a girl. I'm the little boy that wants to be loved. And all the other shit didn't give me that.
Yeah.
I was crying for love. But what happened is I did not have a love to myself.
Yep.
So what happened is even when I was receiving love, I didn't know what love is.
Because you have to give it to yourself first.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's what we hear, brother.
And I'll tell you, that's what's going on with a lot of these individuals and a lot of people that I feel that are recklessly and not properly putting the energy out there the way that they should. And I hope that it changes because it's a domino effect, man, with mental health. Because it makes other people feel less than.
Yeah.
And then they're looking at the validation that they're not getting and the acceptance and the success from an external space. But they're getting it now from the wrong
sources.
Yeah.
That's what it's like,
when they should be looking at guys like you.
Yeah. So it's like what happened is first they get it from there, then they get, and that's why both of us, we reach for drugs, for alcohol, for painkillers, that's what it is, because it's like, this is not enough. And you hit the bottoms. It's like, what is enough?
Yeah.
And it's funny, in our journey, it's never enough because there's never enough faith. There's never enough love for yourself, 100%. Love for God. You know what I mean? And
there's never enough service
and there's
work.
I want to help.
Never enough service work.
Yes, like I want to help 8 billion people.
Yep.
8 billion people are like, you fucking delusional. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let me live in my delusional.
100%.
But like I'm good. I just want to have my message be heard, and it's nothing wrong for having better life. Don't take me.
Nothing.
But what happened is when you fix everything here, all the shit will come.
Exactly.
But you and I, we saying it's like make sure that your inner world and your outer world, they kind of connected. They're going in pair.
That's all I'm saying.
Do you know what I mean?
You have to have the frequency of both in alignment.
Exactly.
Because
we lost it.
Because however you want to do it. But again, what I'm saying is when I'm super close and deal with the billionaires and the richest people in the world, it's a little odd that none of them are out there doing the flex. Mm-hmm. But then there's so many in the younger culture that want to do the flex. And
but
I
it's
think
like
that
celebrities like fame want to be rich want to be fame, and then poor want to be rich, and
Yep.
it's like we always want something else.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like when you find it, the abundance comes.
That's it. And I
Because-
think when you're living in a place of self-love, sort of just like you said, that's when the abundance really comes. And that's when, we evolve too. And that's when you think about ways that used to live and things that used to do
That's what we
that
need.
aren't as important anymore.
Yeah.
You
So
find
how-
a different sense of
Yeah.
purpose.
How come it's like, when you spend time with older people, you're just like, so all this shit I was chasing is for nothing.
Yep.
And it's like, so whoever like from the younger generation I was listening to, it's when you find the important things, like talk to older people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm not older. I'm just 53 years young, so I'm not old. I'm young.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like now, when how when you're 20, it's
Yeah.
like shit. When you 40, you're old.
Yeah.
When you 30, shit. When you 50, you're fucking old. And I'm like 53. Mike, don't laugh. When you're 50, I'm like, dude, I'm young, dude.
Yeah.
Like what? Yeah. And it's funny. I want to be 60.
Yeah.
I want to be 70 because I want to evolve. I want to learn.
The
I want to
evolving's the
know
best
what
part.
what I don't know. It's like, and it's funny with the age, Darren, I realize the older I get, the more I realize how little did I know.
Yeah.
When I pray to God, like it's like God tell
See,
me.
and if you love the evolving process, you're just like me. Like I don't regret anything in the past because the past, every little situation made me who I am today. So there are no regrets because every single thing that happened synchronicity wise to lead me to the Darren Prince of today, July 15th, 2025, to my higher self and to my connection with God and my connection with service and people and my heightened awareness of sense of self and what I do each day consistently on my own personal development journey to get more in tune to myself so then I can give that energy to the universe. The only thing I say is for guys like you and I, like, we got to be a little bit mindful sometimes of too much of the energy going out. So it is okay to be selfish, to take back for us, so we can then be selfless. Yeah.
Using my
Yeah.
words. Like this is really how I like. It's funny. Like you even
Yep.
use the same vocabulary that we use.
Yep.
Because I was like when I because selfish is it's a bad word
Yeah.
if you think about it. But sometimes we gotta fill the bucket.
Yeah.
Because we cannot give.
We can't just
we
keep
cannot
pouring
give.
and pouring and pouring
You
in
know
and
what I
not
mean?
pouring into ourselves.
Yeah. And it's going back. It's funny, like the celebrities, the billionaires, they don't go to the monks or Buddhas. It's like, hey, help me out. I'm not, because I'm unhappy. They all travel, but none of the monks or Buddha goes to them. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, help me, because
Yeah.
you have everything and you don't have yourself.
Exactly.
It's not the other way around. So
Yeah.
it's my message is truly, you got everything within you, and it's gonna take years to deep in and find the answers and like what would you say like your prayer meditation is to bring your awareness level there, bring your consciousness level and put the fuel in you so every morning you have the energy and you want to do more, you want to give more, you want to serve more. Like what
Well, I think what the 12-step fellowship has given me for recovery is it's given me a whole new spiritual way to live. Like I understand the drugs and the alcohol part. You put the plug in the drugs and throw out the drugs. But, like I said earlier.
But I want to interrupt, like, so everybody's listening. The drug and alcohol, like, it's also, that's a sedation, it's an addiction. But, like, that we also, like, I told you, like, before we started, my addiction was also working
Yep.
and working out.
Yep.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Exactly.
So it's everything.
And
Food, porn, gambling.
Yep.
As long you're not staying within yourself, not have a connection with reality, that's the drug. That's the alcohol. That's the
100%.
sedation.
So we're running from something. We're trying to escape from something. And, I've learned to live just this amazing spiritual life where I often say, now I try to say what I mean what I say, and not say it mean.
You got to say it one more time. I love it how you said it. I love
Say
it.
what you mean what you say, and don't say it mean.
There
So
you
if there's
go.
a couple gems that people can take from me, because I say it often when I speak, when I'm out there doing keynotes, I think, and I'm still not perfect at it, because it's always a work in progress, But in a heat of texting a friend or a business associate, something you're about to butt heads, or an email, or a loved one, or a family member, we got to try to stay in a place of being all right rather than right, even when we know we're right. Because that engagement of that energy.
Dude, seriously, dude, I broke all the time. I'm good with that. You know what I mean?
That engagement, that energy that you don't want to give away, the day is off. The abundance doesn't flow. The happy, joyous, and free mindset isn't there. The things that we were anticipating or hoping for, they're not happening.
But that's the journey.
Yeah.
That's the journey. That's the life.
Yeah.
That's the life. Even whoever is listening to us right now, it's like, we still don't have it figured the shit out. We still on the completely healing journey, working journey, figured out the answers, reading, meditating, praying, finding the answers. And it's like 6 months from now, we're going to be sitting and it's like, holy shit, look at this.
Yeah. We look back a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You look back and we're always evolving. And then it's like the other thing that I try to do that keeps me, always into that consistent personal development from meditation. Like, I think the biggest key is trying to understand people instead of us being understood. Almost like the whole Mel Robbins let them theory. I think that's something that we tend to get out of ourselves so much because somebody irritates us, or somebody's living a certain way, or we don't like something about somebody else.
You know how I would say, if you're pointing out those 3 fingers,
point back
you
to
point
yourself.
back at you. You know what I mean?
Point back to
It's
yourself.
the best line I ever heard.
Yep.
And if all that shit is driving me up about other people, it's me. It's an unhealed trauma, unhealed wound that I still have it. You know, that's why, my partner, my queen, my kids, this is people that can only trigger shit out of me.
Yep.
But this is the gift to me is Jarek, there is still so much and I know it's an infinite game. This will that thing, the healing, like you said before, it never ever stop.
It never ends.
Yeah, and it's you cannot say healed in past.
No.
If somebody say that, I'm done, I'm good, I'm like, okay, wait.
That's why I told you early on.
Coming.
The only 2 things I'm healed from is putting substances in my body, but I need to do what I do one day at a time to stay healed. Because if I start missing meetings, if I stop being a service at helping people, if I'm not scholarshiping people into my Aiming High Foundation or doing amazing interviews with people like you or keynote speeches, guess what? That
goes down. When we stop serving, that's what we were born for, to serve. When we stop serving, we go back.
100%.
But it's the same thing in businesses. We're like, I got it. Let me get there. When I get there, I love this one. I love this one. Yeah. When I get this, I'm gonna donate this money. This dude, motherfucker, if you're not donating now, you're not gonna donate. You're not donating your time.
Get there.
Exactly.
If you're not doing
exactly. Yeah. So it's never. It's when I get there, dude. That's the problem. Not the problem.
No, you need to be doing it while you're struggling.
Yeah.
You need to be of service with contributing. Because even if you're struggling, there's others that have it a lot worse. So always being of service, spiritually, emotionally, financially. Because when you're giving, you wind up getting. And you don't give because you know you're going to get. You give because it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And if abundance comes from it, great. If it doesn't, it's still the frequency we need to be living in.
It's funny that I always say, when I pray in the morning, I always say, love that I'm loved, right? And like I told you, because I didn't love myself, so I couldn't receive love. And a few months ago, I even changed in my prayers and meditation, I am the abundance. I'm abundant. This is, and it's suddenly the energy, even people like you are start coming into my life. We could not script this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was funny. I didn't know anything about you. And then I started reading this stuff. I was like, how the hell did he end up here? It's dude, this is my dude. This is my, dude. And I was then I ran into you. I went back. I was like, thank you, God. It's it's the journey. It's the same. And then you connect with the same people. Like I said.
When you walked outside before I told you, it was it was our long lost spiritual brother bond. We haven't seen each other in a while. How you been? It's that's such a frequency that's just so rare when you find that with somebody.
You also use the word wholeness.
Yeah.
Like we the whole, and we like it once,
Yeah.
let's go back on this word, because like a lot of people don't like, what do you mean like wholeness? Like it's just like,
I think it's just inner peace. It's like well, it's tangible and intangible, depending on how you look at it. I mean, you're just trying to fill that hole in your soul. And how you talked about, you wanted to be loved or whatever. Being loved has never been a priority to me because I was suffocated with it from my mother. I wanted to be heard. I was the shy little kid that was told he was never going to go anywhere in life, that the money came. So I used that money to buy the friends, the woman, whatever was around me to get that validation. But then when I wrote Aiming High, and I discussed this with my healer Landre one day. It was
where's your
just
book?
this
Where
mic
did you
drop
bring your
moment.
book?
Yeah.
You have your book with you?
I don't. I should have bought one.
He's on
for
my
you.
shit list, guys. He's on video right now. He's on my shit list. He did not give me the book, but I will get the book.
I should have. It's 7 years old already. So
That's
don't
it.
really bring
So
it.
you already,
But-
see, perfect. I'm gonna use this. You see, like we've done this, and like before we're taking this everywhere, and then we take it for granted.
Yep.
You know what I
That's a
mean?
good point.
And it's funny. Some of it, like my book, just came out a year ago, so I still take it. I'm still as my baby. It's still. And then someone's like, "This is my Bible."
Yeah.
This is like somebody reads it. Like
I
you know what I mean?
was for a while. I think the first 5 years, I'd keep a couple copies in my in my suitcase, but I sort of just stopped doing it at this point for some reason. But I I want to just get back to the wholeness because it's amazing how it all worked out for me. Like that, I wanted to be heard. And then God waited for my father to pass away. He waited for me to write Aiming High, and then all of a sudden, like, Magic said it to me several times because it's like, who would have thought that, you didn't just represent some of the biggest stars in the world, but you become one in the world of recovery and mental health. And that was my way of being heard. That was me finding that self-love first, that wholeness, that inner peace, and sharing that gift to the world. Not about the Ali and Fraser and this, that's like I said, that's what I do. That's my job. It's my career. I wanted to show people what it's like to really be able to look yourself in the mirror and love the person that you are, love the person you're becoming. Tune the outside noise out, and know that when we wake up every day, it's about serving. It's not about what I can get, it's about what we can give.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I think giving is living, and the more you give, the more you get. And I, Tony Robbins always tells the stories like change your appreciation, your expectations, appreciations,
100%.
and then if you truly give without expecting anything in return, the giving it's like it's enormously.
I said it earlier like that, but
Yeah,
a little bit
yeah.
different. Too many people give because like, oh, it's the right thing to do, and I'm gonna. No, it doesn't matter if you get anything ever, because maybe the abundance comes in your health, maybe your abundance comes in new friends along the way, life experiences, other breakthroughs and blessings. But however it is, we're meant to serve. Period. We're not meant to take. And I think just too many people don't understand that. Like when you're given to bless others in every other way possible. Like I've never been this guy that's about taking and accumulating and having as much as I can. It's always made me so much happier blessing other people that never had an opportunity or might not ever have an opportunity to be a part of something where, they can get some self-confidence in themselves. They can have the ability to experience things in life they might not ever get to experience. It's what makes me happy. Mm-hmm. And you understand that because you live it.
But what happened is I was telling people, like I was looking for pleasures.
Yeah.
And this is that true happiness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like really, it's and like I want to share it, I want to give, but I'm telling you, I still have a horrible days.
Yeah.
I still like it's freaking like attack, and it was like sometimes like I'm in the middle of the storm. It's like, how the hell I'm doing okay? Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's a lot easier because the platform is now there.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, the people are running into, if somebody told me this, like, you know, when I like, you know, just snap out of it, and
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I want to share my story, and I was like, oh, nobody's gonna listen. My story is bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? And then I start sharing the story, and it's like, oh, I have the same. I have the same voices. I have the same struggles. I
identification.
have the same, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we identify with that. And then I started building more and more connection, and I was like, holy shit! Like I never, even like where I'm at right now, I never expect that.
Yeah.
This was like there's no way it's you know, like crying on the camera or just breaking down or meeting people, the people that I'm meeting right now, and I'm it's like when I enter the room, it's like I can pick people that like I immediately like
Yep.
without just looking
feel
in
it.
the eyes, like you feeling it. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
And by doing those esteemable acts and those connections, have built that self-esteem that guys like you and I are always looking for.
The resilience.
That
We build the
connection.
resilience that comes from within now.
Yep.
Versus we are looking for resilience, like, you know, the validation from somebody else.
for this type of stuff.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's why like we're getting farther and farther apart. Dude, somebody who's listening, because a lot of guys like, I'm not there yet. What is the signals like because like I was telling, you know, your queen and you before we got in, it's like women have the connection a little bit quicker.
Yep.
We gotta hit the bottom of the bottom, but I don't want to hit the bottom of the bottom because, you know, I almost committed suicide.
Yep.
We this year alone have we already passed 500,000 suicide. It was 740 last year.
Yep.
We're just in July. I don't want people to lose lives.
Yeah.
So what signals would you look? Because, you know, I got so many signals, red flags. It's like, Jarek, there's something,
Yeah.
you know, reach out for help or stop doing what you're doing. Like what signals what advice would you give to anybody who's listening right now?
I mean, the first two things is you got to be accountable and you got to take an action, no matter what the struggle is.
But there's nothing wrong with me.
You can't just say, "Oh, my mother."
But the denial, you know, like I always thought, like I cannot help alcoholic who doesn't say like I don't have a problem.
Yep.
You know, it took with my brother, it took me 6 years to get him out of the alcohol because it's like he was like, oh, I don't have a problem. Like, you know, he was functioning alcoholic.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have DUI. I don't have this. Like, I'm good. I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The denial. When we go through denial with the mental health, you know, with the struggling with whatever, because sometimes you don't have to struggle with the drug or alcohol,
Yep.
but you struggle with the voices.
Exactly.
How do you?
I mean, I think it's the second part of that is taking an action. And there's many ways, and especially now in a social media world and these apps, and there's so many ways that you can do things to get aligned with a group of people that understand the way that you're feeling. You know, we talked about that connection. I think that connection is everything. When you find that group of people that have lived that, felt it, been there, done that, and you connect with them, it's just it's like a vibration. It's unbelievable, because I know there's probably well over 100 12-step fellowships that have been adapted from AA, which is the original one 90 years ago, June 10th, 1935. There's a reason, you know, whether it's overeaters, whether it's gambling, whether it's shopping, whether it's cutting, whether it's bullying. I mean, there's a reason, because these groups work, and when you connect, whatever that, you know, impairment has been on your life, and you take that action after you become accountable. Otherwise, you know, you can live a long, miserable life and wake up one day and look back at all the years that you wasted. You have absolutely nothing to lose if you're struggling, if you're in that
That's
place
the
of
lesson,
just
right?
unhappiness and lack of fulfillment, to try a different path.
But I love the lessons. Like I really like the all the struggles that I hit the bottom of the bottom. And it's funny, like every time I thought it's the bottom of the bottom, there's another bottom came. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think like bring the awareness that that's okay. We humans, we can go through emotions and feelings. We can, you know, we can have desire for pleasures, but it doesn't mean just like knowing where to go back.
Well, we also the one thing we didn't talk about, by the way, was think about the losses. Think about, even now, the barrel moments of life when you're in the barrel. That's where the growth comes. And I don't think a lot of the younger generation understands that. Like, we want to be going through the rough times. You know, we want, personally and professionally, to have this moments of, because that's when you're tested. That's when your resolve and your character really comes through. And that's when you can know how much you can take. Because I don't learn anything when business is great and life is going perfect. I don't. I might complain.
By the way, he's not listening to my podcast, but it's like, it's funny how we use the same words. It's like everything is like, because we really don't learn shit from successes.
Yeah.
It's like success, what is the next one? And then where's the next trophy? Where's the next trophy? I want to even like, first it was money, right? Then the races. And now, you know, it's like, how many, like, I want to serve those. Like, it's never, it will never stop.
Yep, never. And I think that's one of the most important things to understand, that, you know, you want the rough patches to happen because there's no growth in the wins. You know, you had it. You were at the top, and top of the top, so was I. It's like, where's the sense of fulfillment? It's not there anymore. You get there and you're like, oh, is this all there is? Wow.
And then we start looking for shortcuts.
Yep.
So now this is our shortcut.
That what?
Now this is our shortcut.
This is
our drug right now.
Exactly. You know, this gets euphoric, like I said. You know, this lights us up the way that drugs, alcohol, money, huge business deals used to.
Yeah.
Because we know that we're getting to some people. We know that you've got viewers around the world that are going to watch this, and their lives are going to be changed from this conversation.
I hope so. Brother, where can people find you? How do you find out?
On
tell
Instagram,
me about the book that you said.
at agent_DP, Facebook, Darren Prince, DARREN, Prince. My 501c3 charity is the aiminghighfoundation.org, and the business website is princemarketinggroup.com.
We're going to put all the links at the bottom. Last thing. What advice would you give yourself to? I have my son and I have my kids like age of 20 to 14. What advice would you give it to yourself, 14-year-old?
To a 14-year-old, don't be worried about planning your future right now and make as many mistakes as you possibly can. You got nothing but time.
There you go. Love it, brother. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Guys, I told you it's going to be a good one. I told you.
Thank you for listening. Leave your comments and subscribe for more insights on mastering the inner and outer wealth.